Hello, it is Midweek Extra. It is John Gibbons, and we are brought to you for the first time by F-Pro. More from them later. But in the meantime, we've got a win to celebrate, and celebrate it we shall. I've got Mo Stewart, I've got Ali Gunn, I've got Emilia Bona, and Emilia. It just feels nice this morning. Woke up, had a couple of beers with your husband last night, and with Neil, but you know, can't have it all. My girl in the crack, Liverpool winning.
Beamish.
Oh, beamish.
Yeah.
I was beaming. I was, Emilia. It feels good, doesn't it, to win?
It does, Joe. I listened to the post-match show on my way into work this morning and thought they have had a nice time. They've had a lovely, lovely time. Great audio, great time. It's I just feel I feel buoyed. I feel a sense of positivity. Things feel possible once again. I don't want to say that we were all starting to think that things were entirely lost, but I think it was we were starting to worry about the kind of the future and what it looked like, because I suppose it didn't really feel clear what next steps were. Whereas now I think it's easy to see if there's loads of really good options and it's just a case of working it out. It changes the way that you see all of it, a performance like that. And I think the best part of it isn't just that it feels like a late winner that's fluky, or where Liverpool have had a bit of, you know, luck shining on them. It's a great performance against, admittedly, a side that were fantastic in the second half, but you can see where this is going to then build to. And I feel a lot better going into the weekend.
Feel a lot better, Mo?
I do. I woke up today and it stopped raining. It's almost like the universe is like, all right, you've had it bad, we'll calm it down now. Yeah. But it just takes a lot of the pressure off, doesn't it? Because, like, even though, like as Emilia said, you know these aren't a terrible footballs all of a sudden, but you're hearing about breaking bad records from the 50s if it loses and all of those horrible things. And you just think that when you're in a bad run, things just don't go your way, bad luck, you don't get any kind of good luck at all. And so you can just draw a line under that. A lot of players will come out of that game feeling better than they went into it. And so hopefully this allows us to kind of reset the decks and build forward. There's probably still a couple of people who maybe aren't as happy as everyone else, but we can deal with that in the future.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit towards the end, but the main thing is just to enjoy the win and some goals. Liverpool kicking in the goal 5 times.
Yeah. Do you know what I said to Mo when we came in? Then I was like, I didn't really know how to act after full time. It's like, and I don't believe we're in any crisis level at all. But I was like, we scored 5. This is great. Oh, we do this every week. But we had a number of players yesterday that walked off with confidence probably doubled before they walked into it. You know, and we're going to talk about, I imagine, a lot of those players, Florian Wirtz being one of them. Even a few performances like Conor Bradley just looking a little bit more stable and a little bit more assured at right back. It was nice to see Joe Gomez come on as well. We haven't really seen him since the Southampton game. So, yeah, there was a lot to be excited about. I wouldn't say as far as it's going to paper over cracks. I think a lot of the cracks, a few of them, particularly last night, were either fixed or identified, or we found a solution for those cracks. But there's still a number of cracks that I think the manager will be looking to sort of have a look at in the coming days before Brentford.
Yeah, no one's saying everything's sorted, is it, Emilia? No one's sat here going, oh, we're going to be fine now, we're going to win every game sort of 5-1. There's bigger challenges to come, there's different challenges to come, and we'll talk about, you know, Brentford in part 3 and the particular challenge that they throw at you. But I hope they feel better. You know, I feel better this morning. I hope whether they're flying back now or whether they're back in Liverpool already, just feeling like, yeah, that was a bit, we showed a lot more of what we had about, and we're pleased we've done that.
Yeah, and I think it also gives the manager a bit of breathing space and takes the pressure off in terms of what he may or may not decide for the weekend. I think that particularly around Salah, again, who I'm sure we'll talk about, the decision not to start him has been described as a brave one, and I think it's only brave if you win. But I think that whatever he now does on the weekend, it's given him the space to be able to do that, because we're not all breathing down his neck going, that was another loss, and, you know, this is now getting to a point where we're all starting to lose our heads of it. It means that as he's continuing to work this out and kind of identifying these solutions, we can trust the process a little bit more, because it was starting to feel very nervy and like none of us really knew kind of what the way forward was. And I think now we can at least give him the benefit of the doubt off the back of feeling really brilliant about watching Liverpool play well and understanding that there's kind of different partnerships and different ways of doing it that might work for us for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he needed the win, didn't he? It's 4 losses in a row, Mo, isn't it? And, you know, I don't care who you are or what you've done in the game. You know, he's won the league last season. He's got loads of credits in the bank. But you didn't want to add to it. You know, the more that, I mean, how many losses in a row can any manager sort of cope with? So it's a big win for him.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to get to 7 wins and 7 defeats. I don't think anyone wants to see that. But yeah, I think in terms of, like you say, the pressure on every single decision, because that's what happens when things aren't going well. It's not so much, there's no benefit of any doubt. People forget everything that happened last season, and suddenly just a substitution, a change of formation, little things that, even just a change of how you address or attack certain situations. The scrutiny, it's like, why are you doing that? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you picking that player? Why aren't you doing this? Now it's all can be a little bit like, just remember, I know what I'm doing, and just go with it for a little while. And hopefully that will be the case for most people, particularly outside. I think within the group, there was no sense of anyone feeling like he didn't have control. I think that's one thing that's really important to remind us all as well.
Yeah.
So the players trust him still, even if some people outside don't. But he want to win games. And I wonder how he was feeling having had what I thought was generally quite a positive start and then went behind. Like, you can imagine his mind was just thinking, oh, for goodness sake, not again.
Yeah.
But to be able to come back from that, in a funny way, it reminded me of the first Champions League game last season away in AC Milan.
Oh, yeah.
We concede early.
Yeah.
And then we get 2 set-piece goals. I think it's Konate and Virgil again in that game. And they end up winning that one 3-1. And it's just after the Forest game. So it would have been just when people started to question him at that early stage. It nipped it in the bud and we were able to go on a good run. So hopefully similar happens this time.
Let's do individual performances then. You trailed it before. Al, who do you want to talk about? You pick. I'm not the boss of you.
I would say, do you know what? I think the easiest one to probably pick is Florian Wirtz, because it was as much of a performance as we wanted Florian Wirtz to put in since he's joined. He just grew into the game. He seemed to build the relationships as he kind of went throughout the season. But last night it was like he formed relationships. He kind of knew where players were. The one sort of criticism we've had as fans is that final pass has always just been a bit slow or a bit behind, or it's just not quite. Whereas last night, the box of tricks came out and he was flicking it around the corner. It was one touch and he just looked a lot more assured about what he had around him as well. I also understand that it was probably useful for him to play a team that he's played a lot in the last couple of years, and he knows and understands Frankfurt and sort of what they were going to pose to him. I thought it was interesting. He played off the right more so in the first half. He definitely lined up in a defensive set like that, but from an attacking perspective, he was mainly on the right-hand side for the first 20, and then he started sort of drifting and floating and popping up. And I thought by the end of the game, he kind of walked off with 10 feet taller. He felt happier and he felt more comfortable, even with the rotation that we had in terms of, well, Mo Salah wasn't playing, or Alexander Isak only had 45 minutes, or, it was a constant kind of evolution of Liverpool last night from old guard to new guard to new guard to old guard. And I think Florian Wirtz did really, really well to overcome the start he's kind of had yesterday and just put in a 7 out of 10. We just wanted him to put a 7 out of 10 in.
I think you're right that he'll have left that game feeling so much more confident. But I think he came out onto the pitch looking 10 feet taller, and I think it came at a great time for him. Obviously, the setting of it, but the fact it's come off the back of international duty, where he's had a vote of confidence from the national squad manager, from Jurgen Klopp, and from actually our fans as well, probably going, maybe we've all been too quick to judge her if he's kind of so highly rated and is performing this well when he's got that kind of vote of confidence behind him. I think he walked out almost feeling like it was the start of a new chapter for him in his Liverpool journey after a start where he was kind of questioned a lot and doubted a lot. And I hope it continues.
You do hope it continues, because, the media, the press, all of us will always look at the price tag. But what the last couple of weeks have shown through his performances in the international team, through people like Jurgen Klopp coming out, he is still a wonderful footballer, that price or no price. He is still Florian Wirtz. And I think we just need to understand that we want it to be the springboard for Florian Wirtz to go into Saturday and future games and control and pop into pockets and be who he is. But that's a good basis to build from now. If he doesn't play particularly well, or he's less effective against Brentford, it's not a big deal. I don't need Florian Wirtz now to go from a 7 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10 in the first 12 games of his Liverpool career. But I just want him to have that confidence to use this in a positive manner, use it with the players around him and go, I can do it. And that sounds patronising. I don't want it to.
No, I think it's being part of a winning team, Mo, as well, because it was, in those early games, it tended to go like he'd start and then we take him off and then we win. And it was like, and it wasn't his fault.
No.
He must have felt a little bit like, all these late winners are great, but I'm sat watching. Do you know what I mean? And so for him to feel part of a team that's not just won, but won handsomely, and he's got an assist and he's played well, it'll make him feel good.
Absolutely. And I mean, the flip side of that as well is that, like, I mean, he was out in the starting lineup for the last 2 games and we lost.
Yeah.
So if there was anyone thinking, oh, well, he's the problem, it's like, well, clearly it's not me. So coming back in and be affecting the win, I think is really important. I think it was really noticeable how the rest of his teammates reacted, particularly after that first assist. Like nearly all of them went over to him,
popular guy.
and gave him a big hug, said, well done. Because they're aware of all the noise around them. They all pretend like they aren't. They are. So they'd have known that how big it was for him to finally get involved. And I also like the fact that, as Ali said, there were starting relationships were starting to build. Like, I think him and Gtech look really great together. I think he always seems to look better when Curtis Jones is also on the field alongside him. And I wonder whether the manager's thinking, well, if we want to try to get him up to speed, particularly now, it looks like Isak, who was potentially the other project, might not be around for at least a couple of games. Maybe we concentrate on getting Verts up to speed and keep some of the guys who he likes playing with around him for at least the next couple of games.
I think with the Isak, obviously an injury is never a good thing, but in some ways it removes kind of some of the decisions that the manager has to make for a little while, and potentially, especially with the price tag on him as well, that you're kind of thinking, well, you paid all this money and there was all this drama around it.
I think he probably felt a little bit of pressure to get him up to speed.
Yeah.
He probably thought, well, he's only going to get there by playing.
Yeah. But then, I don't know, I think I have limited sympathy just in terms of the need to get up to speed is because of a pre-season that he chose not to engage with, and I understand why that was.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the kind of his start at Liverpool is partially down to the decisions that he made, and he wanted to be here so badly and knew that with the furore around it, the expectations were going to be like a absolute top level from the beginning. And I think in some ways I'm not relieved because like you don't want an injury to factor in at any point, but I think it makes things a little bit simpler at least going forward. And Hugo TK, I hope there's no reason that you don't see him going forward. It's just questions then around how we build the rest around him.
He's great at TK, though, isn't he? Some player.
I'm just amazed at how unfazed he is by everything, and it's almost like this nonchalant kind of, just fire it into my
But then I
feet.
won't think he just wasn't going to score when he goes through. Like, it's like, oh, here we go.
But it's the assets he has also from like a physical perspective. When that ball was played, the speed of such a big guy, and you often think with size in football you'll be a bit more unorthodox or you don't have that top end speed. And he was gliding, and he put distance between. More often than not, when you're dribbling like that, the defender's going to catch up, and they don't have to be particularly quick to catch up because you're factoring in so many things.
Bit owls like that on the rugby pitch.
Hey, when the bar's open, it's straight. But that's the exciting thing about him is he just doesn't look particularly phased. And when he got in that position, that we all saw on TV, how he slowed himself down and he just looked at the keeper.
Yeah. It's such a calm, like you've got a split second to do it, but watching him, you wouldn't think it. It feels like you're watching it back in slow motion.
Yeah, and he just seemed to, when he scored, obviously he didn't want to celebrate, and I understand that, whether I agree with that, but I understand why he wouldn't.
It was an exaggerated lack of celebration.
He's had some trouble with his goal celebration.
Well, okay.
So I understand him being a little bit more like
Every game, just do that. But it was almost the confidence in himself that he scored, and then was like, right, let's go again. You've just scored a brilliant goal. We'd all be knee sliding halfway across Frankfurt at this point. But yeah, it was brilliant to see, and it just how he facilitates play for other people as well. He's so good individually with the ball at his feet, but he's so good at bringing other people into play and attracting defenders. And it was just another performance where you go, I want more Hugo Ekitike in my life.
I mean, we're going to get more.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, whether the opponents like it or not, I think that's the problem. But yeah, Ali's right. I think it's not just how he plays, but how he brings other people in and how he gives the opposition so many different problems. But like, again, his goal, the thing I liked about it is you had the acceleration, then you had the move across the defender to basically eliminate them from that position. And then, as Ali said, he just had all the time in the world. It was like, sometimes when you see a striker going through on goal, you can see them thinking.
Yeah.
he'd already thought it all out. He already knew, and it was just.
But there's just silence.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just whale sound.
Just humming to himself a little tune, like no. Like probably saying to himself, "Now when you celebrate, don't go crazy." But no, I think him getting a run in the side is going to be helpful for everybody because sometimes when you are in a bit of a funk, you can really just be as simple as let's get all the players who are playing well and keep them in the side. And he has been playing well. I think obviously there's reasons, as we alluded to, why he hadn't been starting the last couple of games, but now it looks like he's set fair for a good proper run in the side.
Other positives as well. I thought for Curtis Jones played really well, and him and Szoboszlai seem to work it out in the middle, which I like that because it's a bit of a change for them as well, going from a 2. They used to sort of grab him back behind them, and I think a couple of times they did get caught out earlier in the game, but then they worked it out because they're smart guys.
Yeah, you saw that for the Frankfurt goal is that they weren't quite where they needed to be, and then they kind of over-committed to get back in, and then it was all kind of a bit of a car crash where one of them ran into someone, and but you take it with a pinch of salt because it's another midfield combination. It's another, like you said, playing in a 4, effectively a 4-4-2 in the first half last night in defensive sort of transition. It's brand new, but they're both intelligent enough players, and like you said, I thought Curtis Jones was really he gives you kind of that assurance and that confidence in your midfield. He's not going to lose the ball. He's extremely press resistant, but positionally he's very good. He kind of knows how to sort of get in channels and block passing lanes and just be a bit of a nuisance for the attacking team. So again, it was enough last night that you saw to go, okay, I understand where we're going to try and take this. Maybe not long term. I don't know whether it'll be a 4-4-2 when Isak comes back, but you saw someone like Curtis Jones go in there and everyone kind of went, okay, we know what we're going to get from Curtis today. So, yeah, another positive one, and you hope he probably starts at the weekend now as well.
The only shame, really, the injury is, we've talked about Isak going off, it is never good. I take Emilia's points about maybe sharpening the man in terms of what we do up front, but you'd still rather have players available. And I thought Frimpong was bright for 15 minutes and I enjoyed what we were doing with him, and he had that whole right-hand side and he was galloping up and down and maybe galloped one time to Emilia, I don't know, but a shame for him. He doesn't really feel like his Liverpool career's got started properly yet.
No, and it's weird, isn't it? Because one of the things we said about him when he arrived was that he was actually had a really good injury record. And he's played hardly anything for Liverpool and he's already got 2 hamstring injuries. And I don't think he's running any harder for us than he was for Leverkusen.
No, he seems like...
If anything, the opposite.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's different training methods or whatever it is, but you're right, it must be so frustrating for him. And the other thing is that he knows, like a lot of players on the pitch, and like Isak's another one of them, that he's in a battle for his position in this sort of starting lineup. So every time he doesn't play, it gives Conor Bradley the opportunity to play well and to maybe claim that shirt. The same with Isak and Ekitike. I mean, Ekitike has kind of already done it. So it makes it even more frustrating for those who are on the bench. But yeah, I think the interesting thing for me though, I just want to go back to what you're saying about midfield. Like, I think I love the idea of Dom being in the 2-man midfield, but you can tell the difference. He's still getting used to the difference between having 3 and the 2 because he's a bit of a ball chaser.
Yeah.
And that's great when you're playing as an attacking guy and you can go and press people and do all things and you've got 2 behind you. But when there's only 2 of you, if you do go over and over commit, then the other guy's got loads of space.
And that's what happened for the goal.
Yeah. But the flip side of it is, on the ball, he was fantastic. Like some of the passes, like that little dink over the top to Isak.
Yeah.
Or even just...
He placed them onto Wirtz, doesn't he? The Wirtz gets the assist for
yeah,
as well.
And just the range and the little... I love Ryan. I think he's been fantastic. But if he's got a weakness, it's when teams block his running lanes and say, come on then, pass us to death. He doesn't see that. He doesn't have the bravery with his passing ability to be able to say, okay, I'm going to play. Because there was quite a few times against United where people made runs and he had the ball and he didn't quite trust himself to do it. So he turned back on himself, whereas Szoboszlai was doing that. And you think, okay, so we've got this guy who's really good in Curtis Jones, great positioning, good on the ball, can recycle it. This guy who's pressing great, good at passing. Then you've got another guy who's good at tackling, good at running with the ball. Then you've got McAllister, who's a little bit of all those. It's like, if we can find the perfect combination of those, or maybe one of these guys gets some of the qualities of some of the other guys, then you get it locked down perfectly. But we're still trying to work out who's going to work best with each other.
It's such a credit to Szoboszlai, I think, that wherever you've asked him, whatever you've asked him to do this season, he's just gone, yeah, sound, I'll do that, and I'll do it brilliantly. And like, even if it's not an area of the pitch where you'd ideally want him, or kind of playing a role that you think he's stretched or is not what feels so natural to him or what he's used to, you just cannot fault him. And I think probably the same for Curtis Jones in almost every performance so far this season. You'd struggle to point to much of what they've done and not be pleased with it, which is why I think, again, it's nice to feel positive. And I know we'd feel completely differently about this if the result was different, but yeah, both did really well.
That was the best thing for me last night was when Frimpong got injured. I thought, please don't put Dom at right back.
Yeah.
Please don't, because actually we kind of need him with a slightly adjusted system with a two-man midfield. He needs repetition in there. Absolutely. He needs to play 90 minutes in that environment with Curtis Jones. And, you know, we were more dominant in the second half than I think we all thought, which, you know, maybe he didn't learn too much from a defensive aspect of it as the game wore on, but stay there. That's where we want you, and bring Connor Bradley on, because my biggest concern when Frimpong got injured was Dom came over to have a chat with him. I thought, don't do that.
He was basically
get yourself away from the scene.
Other way.
He was pleading. He was like, "Come on, like boss, whatever you want, I'll do tomorrow. I'll clean your car. I'll do whatever it is. Just don't make me go right back."
Yeah, it thankfully happened. Just to sort of touch on the Salah stuff at the end as well before we wrap up. I know it is a sigh, isn't it? I just want to give him a big hug at the moment. I feel really sad when people criticise him. You know, yeah, maybe he should square it for Wirtz, but, you know, sometimes, you know, I remember watching the Wrexham programme and they were arguing in the dressing room, and it's Paul Mullins going like, listen, I didn't see you, have you ever not seen a pass? And then the striker goes, yeah, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like he might not have seen him, or he might be thinking, he's coming on thinking, I want to get a goal. The goal's massive for me here. You know, it's just a moment in a game. And yeah, we all want to see Wirtz get his first goal, but these people are making split-second decisions based on, you know, what they can see in front of him and an understandable need himself, you know, to score. And so criticism of that I find frustrating, especially as he just looks like a man who's clearly struggling to me. I just want to give him a big hug, and he's been phenomenal for us for so long, and I feel like now's the time for, as fans, to really rally around Mo Salah.
Sticking the boot is not going to help anymore. No, I think also, and this might sound kind of spurious, but I think it's important when we're talking about this incident, like a shot on your left foot or a pass on your right foot, Mo Salah's taking a shot on his left foot every time, 9.5 times out of 10, because that is his natural game. To be able to then play the pass to his right foot, and he couldn't have finagled his body around to play the pass with his left foot. It would have needed to do it his right. So he's naturally always going to think of, well, I'm in front of goal, I'm going to shoot. And also, like, this feels like very similar to the tracking back debate, in as much as this is who he is. This is always who he's been. Like, even with all the breaking the assist records and more assists than anyone else in the last 2 Premier League seasons.
If he can score, he'll score.
It's him. The only difference is that he's not scoring, so we're looking at these things differently. I think you're right, he's not happy in himself, and he is harsher on himself than anyone else, than any of all of us. So you can see that in him. He needs a goal badly. By the way, can the referee give us a penalty? Maybe that's what we need to kind of get him kick-started. But yeah, I think it's a shame, because obviously Wirtz had a good game and it was him there, and it would have been lovely to see him get the goal. But I don't think that we should overreact about it. I think that it's just one of those things. Hopefully Sal will now realise that he probably should have squared it, but he will be able to go into the Brentford game thinking, okay, I know the spotlight is on me. I know everyone wants me to be a better version of myself, and hopefully, you know, he can be.
He looked emotional to me all season. You know, you see him at full time in one of the home games where, you know, the crowd are singing for Diogo, and he looks an emotional guy. He's lost his friend. There's other people who he's obviously close to who've moved on, and he looks to me like he's just a bit like lost and maybe a little bit lonely, if I can sort of use that word, on the pitch. And when someone's like that, who's done so much for this football club and has given us so many moments of joy, like, I do want to put my virtual arms around him, and I do want to, you know, sing his song and get behind him, you know, because you can see he's not right, and how he's reacting on social media to certain things and stuff like that just isn't very him, really. I just want to see that big Mo I think he said Mo Stewart there, that big Mo Salah smile that we're not getting much of at the moment.
And you notice it, don't you, when anyone in your life who's a big personality is not quite right or not quite at the races. He's such a captivating character in the dressing room, and for us as fans, that you know when something's up with him. You can just sense that he's not quite maybe in the right frame of mind for reasons that we all know, or maybe, you know, not helped by then his form as well, because naturally the best thing for Mo Salah to be doing for Liverpool Football Club is scoring goals. And when he's not doing that, you know, the weight of the world seems to be just resting on his shoulders a little bit more prominently than we're used to seeing with Mo Salah. But, you know, I think he is such a strong enough character, his mindset, his dedication, that it's just a run. It's a run of poor form, and he will need the support around him from us. I imagine, you know, he wants to be a better Mo Salah than he currently is being, but I don't need to put pressure on him. We don't need to put pressure on him, and I think the discourse around him not performing well, he knows that. He knows, he's well aware that he needs to score goals and he needs to, you know, up his performance level. But give the guy a break. Look what he's done for us, and he's struggling. And he had yesterday, he played 15, 20 minutes at the end. Fine, you know, he didn't square it to Verts. If we were 1-0 down, it's a different conversation, but we won. So let's all just take a step back on him. Agreed.
Yeah, yes. I think I sometimes worry that Mo, when he's in these very brief runs of poor form where it's not happening for him, he's kind of like, he makes it worse for himself by being so tunnel visioned.
Yeah. You can sometimes try too hard to swim.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that he becomes blinded to all other options around him, which then just makes the whole thing worse and probably makes it last for a lot longer. And I think that when I say being selfish, I don't mean it in like a negative or critical way. I mean, he comes onto the pitch and is playing for Mo Salah because he's thinking about what he needs to change this and to, you know, buoy his confidence, to kind of reset stuff. And actually, last night in particular, it's like we're so far ahead. While it is important for him to get a goal, it's not actually important for Liverpool that he does. And that's why, sure, he may not have seen it. It might not have kind of been what was the natural choice for him in that moment. But you almost think that if he was to just allow himself to kind of play back into it without that complete and utter focus being on my numbers, I need this, I need to deliver this. And like, we're a part of that because we put it on him as well. This is why I'm not saying it as a criticism. I just sometimes, as well as feeling sorry for him, I feel frustrated by him. I'm not annoyed at him, but I kind of think like, if you just allowed yourself to work with those around you, to not think about yourself in the situation, it would actually probably be better for you. I've explained that badly. I feel frustrated for him at the same time as feeling upset about it. I just kind of, you want to give him a little shake and be like, get out of your head, like get out of your own head, and this will be better. Because you're still Mo Salah, and
I mean, the reason why he does that is because he's always done that, and it's worked up to this point.
No, yeah, and he's still the same. That's why I think us all getting kind of het up about it is pointless, because this has happened before as well. We've had these exact conversations before, and it works itself out. And that's why I kind of wish he didn't get so like tunnel visioned about if I just get one goal, it'll change everything and I'll be back. Whereas, you know, if he was working with everyone around him, we'd probably all still be as full of praise as if there were numbers.
I agree.
We love you, Mo. And that is the message there. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a break now. Early this week, I spoke to Brian Nash from Frankie Goes to Hollywood about a really exciting new release date. Ooh, you went, ooh. There. Not just Ryan Patton, you know, Friends of the Stars. There we are. Coming out on Universal. So here is me talking to Brian. It is John Gibbons, and I'm joined by an old friend of the show, not just me, but old friend of the Anfield Wrap now, probably 10 years ago, maybe more, the first time you came on. Do you remember Park Street?
It might have been when the book was out.
Yeah.
So Park Street,
Yeah, Park
No,
Street
this all
days.
looks a bit more swanky than Park Street now. Well, it's looking very sorry for itself at the minute. Maybe it should move back.
Yeah, we'll see. But you know, it's nice to still be friends and still be finding out what you're up to, because you're a busy man. But we're here to talk about, well, the olden days really, because Frankie Goes to Hollywood was the band you were in. Obviously one of the biggest bands the city's ever produced, and on the 31st of October, there's a new release celebrating some of those glory days.
Yeah, I think it's a box set. It's been odd for us because it's the first time in a very long time that we've had an association with a record label, because our relationship with ZTT was just so poisoned that we'd just get a note going, this is coming out. You know, we're never involved in any of the releases or the artwork or the promotion, because the deal we were on was so bad. So when ZTT sold the catalogue to Universal, it was an opportunity for us to go, right, what's it like having a relationship with Universal Music? Well, it's probably great if you're Beyonce. Probably pick the phone up to you if you're Beyonce. No, but it's been good, and the people who've been involved in the production of it have been very positive, and there's about 30 odd new tracks on it, and there's Atmos mixes by Steve Wilson, who I think is a bit of a coup to get him. He was at the forefront of the 5.1 and the Atmos mixes. And I think maybe a big part of that pre-sale was people who have those systems who are really starved of product, because they'd buy anything, I think. But I don't think I'd buy a 30-minute version of Pleasure Dome, even if it was surrounding me. I don't know though, the start might be good for all the bears. We just have that. Just have that on a loop for 30 seconds instead of 30 minutes.
Yeah, but it must be quite unusual to sort of go back. You're not one of them musicians who lives in the past. You know, we meet up and we talk about footy, we talk about what you're up to. So you're not one who's boring people in the pub about the olden days, really, you know, but
you've always gone on by that point.
I'm just saying there is a few of them and we can name them, but
yes.
You've never sort of been one of them. But you're obviously proud of what you've done, and you're proud of these songs, and you're proud of the music. And so how does that go, you know, jumping back into the past and going through all this stuff?
It was interesting because Mark O'Toole, for example, had 3 cassette recordings from the Cells, which is now the Bridewell, of him, Ped and Holly just playing 2 tribes. So and it's there, and it's 100 mile an hour. Lover's Got a Gun and Disneyland, but it was the recording, or the quality of the recording wasn't deemed good enough to be able to put out. But that's a shame, because it you know, you can see it then. How it, or you can hear it then rather. And it was, we being off a ghetto blaster with one of those little condenser mics. And you know, you put that through all the modern technology that you have here, that's fucking, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But there's no surprises that for us really, it's just different mixes. And over the years, people will go like, oh, what's your favourite mix of 2 tribes? And it's like, I've only like kind of picked one in the last 3 years because people keep asking me. I said, I don't really know. I don't even know what they were called, you know. Oh, that one's the Annihilation mix, and that, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, pick one. But it's very difficult as well in picking the material. Like, for example, that 30-minute mix of Pleasure Dome, I think all of us were like, who wants to hear that? But then I'd ask a few people who I know, Frankie fans, who are friends of mine, and I've been friends of mine for a long time, and they go, yeah, all day long. So we don't really have a concept of what they want. It's more a case of what we don't want to go out. Yeah. And there was some stuff on there, like the interviews that were on the B-sides, and it's like, that's just, nah, you know, it's old. Give them something else, something that they haven't heard, you know, so. And it seems like they want, given the reaction to this, that they maybe want to do the same thing for the Liverpool album. So I'm hoping that me and Ped can get down to the archive. The reason being, someone who didn't know about the recording processes then would go into that archive and would be looking for the tracks off Liverpool, and they would see a tape that said 2 buttered rolls and wouldn't think that was anything, when really that would have been, that's what we used to do just to embarrass the tape ops and go, what's this track called? And they go, Red Ring Boogie, Ring Sting, 2 buttered rolls. So there's these vibes that exist that people, unless they know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But it'd be good to go and look at it as well, you know. That'd be a trip into the past.
But it's nice that in a basic way that people still care. And we talked before, just before we press record, about the pre-sales have gone really well. So that's how you know that's why they're looking to do another one, is because even before it's officially out on sale, you know, these runs have gone really well. And I mean, it's so hard, you know, I've been around music my whole life really, and it's so hard to be in a band that you have to be really good just to break through in that moment, and then you can disappear. Whereas you guys have still been a huge part of people's lives, and that must make you proud.
Oh, since I've been back in Liverpool, it's coming up for 6 years now, and I could count the times I was recognised in London in 34 years on one hand, and like times like, you know, most of them would be at gigs where you'd be around people who like music or people of a similar age. In the wild, in a supermarket or something like that, 1 or 2 times, and it happens a lot here, and it's always very, very positive. And who doesn't want that? Leila, loved your band. It's great, you know. And yeah, actually, I did have one where I was talking to some fella I'd never met, and we'd been chatting 5 minutes, and I said to him, "Oh, I'm Nasher, by the way," and he said, "Yeah, I know who you are. Wasn't a fan."
Well, that's Liverpool as well.
Yeah, which is the other end of it. Like, but no, sometimes twice in a day, sometimes twice in the same pub. So it's that's really positive, and it's a good thing, and to be remembered like that, and as you say, for people to care, it's a vibe. And at the end of the day, still getting paid for it, and it's like getting paid for the job you did years ago. So who doesn't want that either?
Yeah.
And
it allows you to do other things that you're enjoying now, and you know, you're a celebrant now, you do the music tours, you still do your own music. Every now and again, Prowse, you'll get you up on stage to do a bit and stuff like that. You're enjoying your life, and you're enjoying being in the city.
I'll tell you the thing about being a celebrant, you know, I live a par 4 from Bramley Moor, and or the Hill Deco, as it's been renamed. And the blues in this city, who love to say the city's full of blues, and where all the people who are Anfield are Norwegians, I would refer them to the funerals. I get 5 or 6 You'll Never Walk Alones for every Z cars. So get it up, yeah.
But being part of those moments, I mean, you were kind enough to do my dad's, and you know, I know how much you like people, so you like hearing about people, you like hearing their stories and celebrating them with the people who love them.
The social history, I mean, amazing. And again, tying it into football, I did 2 funerals recently for Blues. One was 97 and one was 100, and they saw Dixie play. So you think there can't be, I think Dixie stopped playing for Everton in 36, so there can't be many of them left now who saw Dixie Dean play at Goodison Park.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the social history of everything about it, and people who were doing the court, and when Liverpool was the centre of the musical universe, you know, and hearing those stories, you know, people who'd been in your dad's age, it was like, they take it so much for granted because it's just happening to them. Just like, to a certain degree, like I was with the Frankie stuff, we don't have any appreciation for our own lives because we're just living it. It's only afterwards and people go, what? And these people who go through the curtains are the great unknowns, and we sit next to them in the pub and at the bus stop and on the train, and they've all got amazing stories to tell, and they've all had lives, hopefully, that have been long and well lived. And just to write about that is fantastic. And to have to get up and say it. And I get people who are like me. I don't get posh people. So all the people who I do funerals for them, 99% from the working class people, either from the North End or the South End or Kirby. And also, I don't think I've done many from people from Woolton. I don't know what that says about me.
Yeah. And he's still loving the Reds as well. You were telling me upstairs, we're still going to win the league. Everyone needs to relax.
Yeah, that's the quote, Roy Keane. Just relax. I'm quoting Roy Keane, not Holly Johnson. I think I lived in North London for 34 years, surrounded by Gooners, and when they were having their suck on the dummy with Arsene Wenger, it was just, yeah. And to be fair, brilliant football. And, you know, but the Invincibles, like, shut up. You drew 11 games, and it should have all been over. The game against Portsmouth, when Perez dived for a penalty and you got a draw. Shut up about your Invincibles. Get 97 points and lose the league or whatever it was. And I was saying to you before, being in second position is all right. I'll have that. Yeah, we've got to go to them. And we're the team who's done it. We've got winners in our team and people who've crossed the line, and they haven't. You know, the captain of our team's won everything with the team. So bring it on. And City, and even looking at the likes, you know, the shock results all over the place. Bournemouth are up there, and are they going to last? Who's to say? You know, they're not being tracked. Are they playing in Europe? No. So they got 38 games to play. Bring it on. But yeah, they think it's all over. I'm getting messages off them. Yeah, it's ours this year. Shut up. No one's ever won it now, have they? No one's ever wins anything in October, and it's a long way to go. So we'll see.
We'll see indeed. But in the meantime, there is new Frankie material out there. I am one of these people who is going to enjoy your 30-minute version. You don't need to worry about that.
Thank you for your support.
But it's fantastic. It's out there. Do buy it. Do check it out. And yeah, if you like it, there might be a little bit more by the sounds of it as well.
Yeah. I might get in the archive. Yeah. And up the Reds. We're going to win the league. Keep the faith.
Always nice to see Brian. Do check out that release if you're a Frankie fan, which is pretty much everyone in this early in this city. Do want to give a shout out at this moment to our new partner, FPro. Hopefully, if you enjoy this as the video version, you're going to get a video from them now, which is going to show all the fantastic things that they offer. But for our audio people, it is an exciting new product designed to help young footballers and serious fans of the sport unlock their potential. FPro is an app that offers personalised training drills to elevate your game. With FPro, you can access over 200 professionally designed drills, perfect for practicing at home or on the go. Just 20 minutes a day can help build real control, faster feet and smarter play. And FPro is a brilliant gift for any young football enthusiast. And you can even get 20% off FPro products by visiting fpro.com/TAW. Andy Heaton's made up. The kids have asked for it for Christmas. Now he's got a 20% off code. So there we are. The mates have got it. They want it, and he's like, "Oh, here's something I'm gonna have to buy. 20% off.
20% off.
He's quids in."
This will be like the Christmas that my parents told us we got Sky as our Christmas present, and it was because it came free with like them taxing their car or something. And on Christmas morning they were like, "Your main present if you turn on the telly," and we lost our minds like, "We've got Sky!" And it was they just got it free as part of some sort of insurance deal, I think.
Well, that is Ben even Christmas morning's gonna have that level of excitement for FPro. There is a QR code for video if you just want to scan it for instant access. But thanks a lot to FPro for partnering with us. I'm going to get it for Ted. See how he gets on. Can't get any worse. Brentford. It's going to be hard. I saw the manager talking after the game saying Frankfurt suited us with the way they played because they played it on the floor, and I was like, well, I've got news for you about Saturday, mate. They kick it high, they throw it even higher.
Yeah, and they're not subtle about it either. Oh, I did a Friday night show before the Palace game, and Brentford and Palace are very similar, and they're not subtle about how they play football. You know exactly what you're going to get at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night down there. It is going to be relentless in how they will soak up pressure, they will hit on the counter, the long throws, the high ball. It will be typical Brentford, and that should benefit us between now and then in terms of there may be a selection surprise from Brentford, but I don't think we're going to rock up and they're going to start playing.
They're going to pick some of their massive lads.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's all just going to be 6'5" plus and get it launched. And do you know what? I like watching Brentford as well for that because it's a little bit old school. But I think the manager now, there is no surprise. Similar to Palace, there shouldn't be games like this aren't a surprise for us. We should be able to now understand and take a lot of learning from last night on. Okay, maybe that works for that team and maybe we need to change it slightly here for this. Maybe it is a 3 in midfield to combat that. Maybe people need to drop a bit. And that's why I think Gtech will work well if Brentford do play 5 at the back because we need to move players around. We need to facilitate like passing lanes. So yeah, I think the game's going to be interesting from our team selection perspective, but it shouldn't be a surprise as to what Brentford are going to bring to it.
Yeah, the team selection from us is going to be fascinating, isn't it, Mo? Because obviously some decisions have been forced into with the Frimpong and Isak injuries. You know, they're likely to be ruled out. We don't know about Gravenberch yet. You'll find out when you go to the press conference on Friday a little bit more about that. So check out Mo's YouTube on Friday if you want to hear, you know, about that and other things. But I think he might have had an idea before last night, sort of, you know, for McAllister, for example, I'll drop him out to bring him back. Mo Salah, I'll drop him out, bring him back. But the lads last night obviously do so well. The fact that Brentford do offer this unique challenge, do you want to get height, or do you think actually we need to be the best version of ourselves to beat someone like Brentford? There's no point us trying to think too much about what they're doing and then end up diluting too much what we want to do. So I'm really interested to see who he goes for.
I am as well. I think the whole idea of being the best version of ourselves is fascinating, because how much of that do you think you saw last night, and how much of that did you think he was allowed to see because of the way Frankfurt played, and it would be much harder? Like, I can understand from the rest point of view, okay, McAllister only played a little bit at the end of the game, so you'd expect in reality him to come in. But because of all what we just said, I'm not sure I would be playing McAllister in this game, or at least not from the start, because I think as great as he is, and as well as he's able to kind of overcome a lot of his physical deficits in general play, this is another level. This is kind of like, you know, the final boss of, you know, physicality. So I think putting him under that kind of pressure from the get-go probably doesn't help. So
I think there's times where we have, though, where we've asked him to do that against teams who physically are kind of similar to this, and I've been blown away by how able he was to do it. I just think this moment in time isn't it. If he's on his way back into form, doing it now, it's the wrong time. If it was a couple of weeks away, then despite the kind of size elements of it, he might be able to, but not right now, as he's just coming back to himself.
my only concern, if Gravenberch isn't fit, is the way that Frankfurt scored their goal, that speedy counter-attack. That is also what Brentford are going to want to do. They've got a guy who plays in centre midfield, who some of us may know, who seems to be very good at playing 50-yard balls from his defensive right into the path of his attackers. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for him. I mean, we're going to have to keep an eye out for him in general, because as fascinated as I am by what we do, I am really fascinated by how he approaches the game. Less so the goalkeeper, because obviously the goalkeeper, he had a great time with us and he left on what I call good terms. Henderson's basically said he broke up with his girlfriend when he left us. Yeah. So how he approaches this game, I have no idea. But I think it's important for us that we don't get caught up in his narrative, that we just go out and play the football.
And it is a reminder of the levels of the team. I mean, Henderson left Liverpool because we weren't going to pick him anymore, and we weren't going to pick him as much anymore because that midfield was struggling. You know, they were second to everything, and so it is a reminder of the fact that they are picking a guy who, you know, we effectively turned our backs on and forced a decision, you know, into him. You know, and they are 13th in the table, so we can talk them up too much, can't we? I think.
Yeah, you can, but I think as well, Jordan Henderson is still a good player in the right system. It was just our system wasn't right for him anymore. And I think that was why the breakup was potentially harsh from his perspective, is he thought he could still do that at that level that he'd done for so many years, and we disagreed. But he can still do that in a Brentford team that are set up very, very differently. You know, sometimes it's a 5, sometimes it's a 4. They are a good footballing team. I know, you know, I did them a disservice there when I say they play long ball and they do throw-ins and it's all sort of old school, get it launched. But they are still technically a very good team, and he looks good in that team as well. So I think players like Jordan Henderson, you know, we've always experienced it as Liverpool fans. Every player seems to raise their game about 10% up when they play against us. I think if you're Jordan Henderson on Saturday night, you're going to be at the peak level of Jordan Henderson. But as we know, the reason he left was his level's not as high as it used to be. So hopefully with the right team, and we need legs in that midfield, and with the right team sort of up against him in that midfield battle, we should be able to.
I think so. I think in terms of the aerial bombardment, I know that there are rules around how much heading they want you to do in training. I think we should just swap out the normal football and just use a beach ball. And just say to them, look, like...
Or do all our heading this week and then say we'll have a month off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, everybody... So When I used to play under nines, like we were all scared of heading. So our coach used to say, like, every time someone misses a header, you lose a point. Everyone starts on 10. Every time you lose a header, you lose a point. If anyone gets to 0, I'm subbing you off. I don't care who you are. And yeah, he kept to his word. So I think we should instill that kind of system in training. Like everyone starts on 10, and every time you miss one, you go off. And you just got to keep heading and heading and heading and heading. And sometimes it's not even just about the connecting with the ball. Sometimes it's about the contest, the aerial contest, and making sure you don't get nudged underneath the ball, all that kind of stuff. Because the one thing we haven't really spoken about Frankfurt is we scored 2 set pieces, which is great.
Yeah,
and big tall boys scoring big tall set pieces.
And they were attacking the ball. So many times we see crosses coming in from our attacking set pieces, and they're just kind of standing there watching the ball go over their heads. Like this time we were running into it with purpose and we attacked the ball. So let's have more of that at both ends.
Who are you picking in midfield? Emilia, Tardiner. I mean, we don't know about Gravenberch, but if you assume he's going to be, should we assume he's fit, or should we? Would you think? Would you think? Side, do you think the 50-50 is? Or would you just leave him out?
No, I just wouldn't like to say. I think other than knowing that we're not going to see Frimpong for a while, we're not going to see Isak for a while. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, after seeing a performance like that from Curtis and Dom, it's hard to think kind of what else you're planning to do. And they give me such a degree of confidence that kind of however you choose to work around them, I'm fine with. But then I don't know if perhaps we rest. I don't know. I genuinely, I don't know if you bring on one of those for kind of, depending on how the game's going. The middle of the park is where I'd find it hardest to make the decision, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what he does. I would love to see Curtis and Dom get another go, but then you think, well, you're bringing in McAllister to play alongside him. Are you risking Gravenberch? Do you play Wirtz there and play as a free, or do you say to Florian, listen, this is going to be mad, sit this one out, but we've said that a lot to him recently, and that's the problem, and he's going to start getting a complex. Like, what do you do in midfield?
I think on the premise that Gravenberch would be out, and we're all pretty much in agreement that McAllister's not ready for this type of fixture, I think that then leaves you with Dom and Curtis, and then a third one, because I think we probably do resort back to a 3 on Saturday in midfield, which then again, as we've said about the Brentford setup, I'd want Florian Wirtz playing so he can find little pockets and he can just move around the pitch, glide around in spaces, and there's not going to be a lot of spaces, but he attracts people to him as well. I think the interesting thing as well as the midfield will probably be the back 4. I think I banged the drum, and I did a show with Andy a couple of weeks ago. I banged the drum for Andy Robertson a lot recently, and I think I want more Andy Robertson at the weekend because of, yes, the aerial threat, yes, all these things, but I just want some solidity. And it's not Andy Robertson, similar to Jordan Henderson, it's not the Andy Robertson that we all grew up loving and playing for Liverpool in his peak years, but I just want no frills. I want Andy Robertson there as part of a back 4.
I think that one of the reasons last night that you get to see some of the newer lads flourish a bit more is because there is just that extra percentage of stability that's brought about by having him on the pitch. And I agree, it's not, the Andy Robertson that we've experienced in previous seasons, but in the same way as having Dom in a natural position makes everything feel a little bit more like it makes sense. And it just felt like we were getting closer towards something that works and that we recognise. And once you've reached that point, you can tweak things like week on week based on who you need to rest and, who's doing well. But having him there, I've said it loads on shows this season. If I was to see his name on the team sheet, it makes me feel immediately reassured. But it looked like it made everyone on the pitch feel immediately reassured as well. And a game like this, I just think you want him.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to do defensively what worked well against Frankfurt, which was a lot of time, particularly after Frimpong went off, they kind of were in a back 3 when kind of Bradley was a little bit more advanced. That suits Robertson much more than it suits Kirkes. In fact, it doesn't suit Kirkes at all.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of concerned if that's going to be the plan moving forward, because then where does Kirkes fit back in? Does he become what Gakpo was? Because, Gakpo was a left winger, but he was also kind of like the opposite to Bradley if you kind of look at it across the pitch, right? So does he become that? But yeah, I think that definitely for Brentford, I'd go with Robertson, bring Kirkes back in for Palace, see how he does, and then go from there.
It's going to be an interesting one, but hopefully the Reds can get 3 points on Saturday. Listen, loads more on the Anfield Wrap app, looking ahead to the Brentford game. So tomorrow, straight after the press conference, we'll be doing pre-match warm-up. There'll be a Friday night. If you watch on YouTube for you to enjoy it as well, and then straight after the game on Saturday night, it'll be late, won't it? 10 o'clock.
It's going to be very late.
It's going to be a late one. Yeah, I'm up early the next day, but hey, I just love content that much. We'll be making sure we do it. Hopefully, we'll be as jubilant as we were last night and sat in the pub enjoying a big Liverpool win. If you're travelling back from Frankfurt, safe travels. If you go into Brentford on Saturday, make loads of noise for the Reds. Sing about Mo Salah, sing about all of them. Hopefully, enjoy a big Liverpool win. But thanks a lot to Mo, to Al, to Emilia, for Paddy and Andy for making all this happen, and to FPro, our new partner as well. Up to Reds.